everybody, and welcome to my newest webinar. Today, we're going to cover using free public relations, or PR, to market your agency's safety, as some aging families still fear COVID. But the other point of this is that you learn how to use public relations and a number of different modalities of it to get new clients. Just, some housekeeping. Please write down questions as you have them, Keith, and I will be answering them at the end, which we hope will be about 15 minutes. And I always have to dig questions out of people, so please dig them out of your mind and write them down. And we'll move to the next slide. Okay. So what are you going to learn? This is an open-ended question. You're going to learn to market safe care management and home care business practices during the very weird semi-post-pandemic confusion to overcome hesitation that some adult children have of using either your home care or geriatric care management or both services, because of what's happening in the US and also because of worldwide COVID spikes and huge pandemic spreads. And what's going on? Well, elders are still not fully vaccinated. I think about 60% of elders have at least one shot, which is great because the most ravaged population were elders. But in the US, we still have big spikes. Colorado, Michigan, Alabama's #1 today. A lot of the southern states, understandably have not gotten vaccinated. In fact, 1 in 4 Americans are anti-vaxxers, have refused the vaccines. And that has left us with COVID being the #1 cause of death in the US still. And even, worse, herd immunity is never probably going to be reached here because of the anti-vaxxers. And if that's not bad enough, what's really happening is that the new CDC no mask change has caused national confusion. It's an unclear mandate to almost everybody. But especially confusing to healthcare, which is where you are if you're a home care agency or a geriatric care management agency. So your clients are confused. So the remedy for this, and that's my main point today, is that you should use public relations to assure people of your safety. And you probably, if you haven't done it along this path of the terrible path of COVID, you should have done it all along, but you should still use it. And also learn how to use, these wonderful public relation modalities that we're going to go through. You may already have been using them. So we'll move to the next slide. So why can I do this? I always say this. I'm the author of the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management with a lot of other people who started writing with me in 1989, and it's now going into its 5th edition, and I've had different writers, but it's a compilation of great knowledge that's brought it to be the Bible of Care Management. I also wrote a book that not a lot of people have, but they should. It's been out for 10 years, and this is Care Managers Working for the Aging with the Aging Family. However, this is a clinical book. This is what you need to deal with aging families. You need a whole family perspective, and you need clinical skills for each. So it's a great book, still available. And the worst offenders in the aging family, as I always say when I do this, are the siblings. They are crazy. They make everything, something that happened when they were 5 gets, transitioned into money that they've taken at the end, or fights that they have. And I also wrote the only operations manual, which we'll talk about in geriatric care management, that has been out for 10 years and is now in its 5th edition. So that's why I can do it. And we'll move to the next slide. So I never do things alone, and this is my co-conspirator and co-presenter, Keith Manensky. We've been doing this together for a long time. Keith is the graduate level instructor in the Geriatric Care Management Certificate Program at the University of Florida. I taught with him, which is how I met him when the program started, and they still use my books, and an active member of the Florida Aging Life Care Association, which are monumentally great because they have the largest population of older people in the country and the worst governor. Don't get me started here. and he's also a part of the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioners, and I could say more about that governor, but I'll shut up. And also the National Academy of Certified Care Managers. So Keith knows as much as I do, and he's going to do the polls with you, and then we're going to answer all the questions together at the end. And so we'll move to the next slide.
Thank you, Cathy.
And so again, what are you going to learn to overcome this COVID hesitation and also get free PR, which I really want you to do? I'm going to show you how to understand, Keith and I are, how to innovatively sell trust, and that's the crux of it. You want people to trust you enough to use your services, and they need to trust your safety at this point. So you sell trust in safe care management or home care services. So the family caregivers, which are the adult children, and the third parties will refer to you. And third parties, you know, the usual suspects, elder law attorneys, you know, wealthy assisted living, et cetera. We'll talk more about that. But that's the point. You want to sell through trust. And that's what I want to teach you. And you're going to learn how to use free PR, public relations, and marketing to show you're focused on the caregiver and the care management safety and the home care safety. And that's really where you got to go. And you're going to learn how to showcase your COVID services because you're still going to need them. You know, it's not going away. It's not even governed by the CDC at this point, and I'll explain that. By showing that you follow the CDC's proclamations, however, they're really being carried out state and then county-wise because of this, you know, very large confusion among home care. So we'll move to the next slide. So, okay, what we're going to cover today to get your clients to trust you. First of all, we're going to go over how to use your website to get the word out about your safety and build trust. Second thing we're going to do is show how you can use a webinar to promote the importance of COVID safety and semi-post-COVID, and you know, for them to see your continued safety. And third, how to create an e-newsletter or use the one you have with the right copy to get the word out about your safe COVID services. And then we're going to talk about and I love talking about this, getting free PR interviews with local radio, local TV, local newspaper with a hook. And the hook is really going to be this, you know, semi here, but not here pandemic. And I'll explain exactly how to do that. And then video. Video is incredibly powerful. According to Courtney Polster, who I think is great in ALCA, she did a lot of research, and when somebody watches a video, they retain 95% of the information. But when they read it in print, they remember 10%. So maybe you'll only remember 10% of this, but I am going to show you some videos. But it's a really powerful tool because of that, because you want, you know, everybody to remember your marketing, and you want to get clients through that. And the last one is social media, and I'm going to show you how to use social media to alert family caregivers to the clear path you have made to safety in the declining but still threatening virus. So we'll get to the next slide. Okay, using your website. This is really important, and you should have been doing this all along, but I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that you can continue to do it now. So I'm going to click on this and hope that this works. Let's see. Aha! It did. Okay, so this is Lifespan. This is an agency that I actually started in 1983. You can tell how old I am, and with 4 other women. And then I left to put together my own agency, Cress Care. And but I came back to help my old partners find a buyer. And I am a consultant with them right now, and I have been for a while. And it's a really great agency, if I may say so, but I wasn't there for many years to make it this way. And we're going to look at their COVID, if I can get this, and we pray. Let's see if we can do this. You want to look at the COVID. Aha! Yes! I'm so excited. Okay, this is what you look at when you go to their website, and I want you to have this too. And you know, all the links are in here, so you can get them yourself. So you see immediately they show you their commitment to quality of care and preventing COVID, and they start going. Courtney, do you think I can scroll through this? Yes. Okay. I'm not going to read all this, but what their office staffing does, the people in the front office, they have a partnership with their county health department. You should too, because they give you all the updates of, you know, whether COVID is really passed or not passed. And, you know, in California, we have colors. So we just got the yellow color, which meant we're really in good shape in Santa Cruz County. But you want to join, if you haven't already, be a part of that, because you get the greatest updates. They show where, you know, what they're doing with personal, you know, PPP. They have mainly nurse care managers. So the nurses actually do screening of the care providers, which is fabulous. And they use video. And I'm going to show you one of the videos. They use video communication to talk to all their care providers about safety. And on a daily basis, you can see that. On a daily basis, they screen their care providers 24 hours before they go out and shift. They screen their care providers for COVID. They have something, clock and time to, you know, all this stuff. I'm not going to go into it. And they even work with a family. So put everything up you've got and then put it on your website. And let's go into a little instructional video. I'm going to go to one little video to show you how cool these people are. Okay, we can stop. Okay, this is one, and we're only going to do a little bit of it, and we'll see if it comes up. Yay! So excited. Okay, here we go. And we're going to get Vanessa. Oh, you can't hear her. Anyway, she's the staffing coordinator, and she's telling a story. She's going to tell the story of they used to have all these people in the office, and now there's only a skeleton crew, that everybody's home working, so they're doing the same thing. And, you know, and she talks all about the safety of the care providers. And I will just let you watch all this yourself, but they do it from the nurse's point of view, from the front office point of view, from the well-being, which is the quality of life point of view. And it's fabulous. So we'll get out of here. But your webinar is a great sales tool, your website. And I would really encourage you to steal. Yeah, here's Vanessa. She runs the front office, and she does all this videoing. And this is Stephen. He runs Well-Being, which is the quality of life program. They do care management and home care. And we did it from the first beginning in '83. We didn't know what we were doing, but we just did it. So we're going to shut down. So that's one thing, that a very powerful tool that you can, and what you're doing here is you're commingling. You are basically taking one form of PR and adding it to another form of PR, and that's what I want you to do. So we'll move to the next slide. Okay, webinars, new modality of PR. What are the advantages of webinars? Well, they promote your agency as experts in your area, and that's really, really important. They showcase your agency, in this case, the safety following the CDC, and I'm going to go all through how to, structure a webinar. They establish your agency as an authority in the field. That's really important, because you need to position your agency against your competition and show your competition, the people you serve in the community, you are the best. And then you want to establish your agency as an expert in COVID safety, and which you can do by, putting all this stuff on your webinar, and that you have professionals, caregiver, and potential clients in your radar to keep safe, and this is how you keep them safe. Plus, you get free publicity and you can advertise for free. And I'll show you a little bit more about how you can save money doing that. We'll move to the next slide with webinars. Okay, so, but you got to prepare for it. Public relations takes work, but it's relatively free. So you have to have great content in a webinar. It's really, really important. Like, would you read a book if the content was crappy? No. And a webinar is the same thing. It's a story. So you want to create content, great content, and the great content really in safety is here, but you want great structure. So let's take, I teach in my Handbook of Geriatric Care Management, I teach you how to write a written geriatric assessment. The hardest thing you'll ever have to do as care manager. And I tell you the same thing as I'm telling you here. You want to see yourself as an attorney in the courtroom, and let's all go to the George Floyd trial because, we all watched it on television, whoever watched a trial. So any webinar has to have sort of the same elements that you have in a trial. It has to have a compelling introduction. And if you remember that trial, the first attorney came out and he's, went through all the reasons that Mr. XY should go to prison. We're not going to use names. And that's called, an opening introduction. So you want to have a compelling introduction, and I gave you all the bad stuff that's happening with COVID, even though it seems good, and how that's my introduction. But then underneath that, what you want to do is have several main points, usually 4, to make your case. And if you watch that trial, various attorneys came in and they were giving evidence, more and more evidence to bolster the main point, Mr. XY should go to prison. And that's the point of your main point. So I'm going through all of these 9 different modalities with PR to show you, PR is the best to do this. And then you want a motivating close. And an attorney calls this a closing argument. And it's the same thing here. You want something that will make the person who is watching it go to your call to action, because you need something out of this. In this case, you need clients. So you want a call to action, and that, in the closing argument, Mr. XY needed to go to jail, and that was the point of the attorney. In your case, you want the client to sign up with you. But what you have to use, and this is in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management as well, under how to write a geriatric care assessment for a client, usually conservator, you have to have the 4 C's. And this was put together by Phyllis Brostoff. I said there was a host of care managers who did this. And the 4 C's, first of all, are clarity. And this means that you have to make the facts that are presented by you, the care manager, prove what you're saying. In other words, you can't say, well, Miss Jones thought that she couldn't fall. You have to, change the sentence into, on blank date, Mrs. Jones put her full name, stated that she could not fall, and then I watched her fall down. Okay, so you need, facts. And so I can't tell you anything without, giving you facts about why you should do this. So facts need to be presented clearly. Cohesiveness means organization. And I've just showed you how you need to organize this to back up your main point, which is, don't let down your COVID safety. And the third C is completeness. You want to have all your points back up your main thesis or your main point. And then coherence, everything needs to lead to a logical conclusion, which is the motivating close. So that's how, you double check, is your webinar coherent? Does it have great structure? And why do you want to do this? You want somebody to, be your client. And if you use these 4 studs, 1, 2, 3, 4, for your webinar to get structure, and you can see a house being framed over there, that's structure, it helps your session and your webinar stay on path and avoid some straying away from selling your agency's product. And that's the real point of what you're going to do, because you want to get new clients. So let's move to the next slide. And okay, with a webinar, how do you create a PowerPoint? Well, I just talked to you about the content. So out of that content, you want to start with something interactive. You want to engage your audience immediately to get the listener's attention, because they can't walk out of the room, but they can just turn you off. Any of you could just say, Cathy, I'm not listening to this, boom. So you want to engage the listener's attention. And you could start with a quiz, risks. What are the risks in your state? Do you know? And, how many vaxxers are in the US? Well, I just told you 1 out of 4. It's a little factoid, but, it's not just you talking at people, it makes people think about an answer, and you're interacting with your audience. Where is COVID still spiking? Well, it's Colorado, Michigan, and Alabama. How many people die a day? 30,000. So, some factoids that you want to come up with. And you want brief, catchy questions. The webinar shouldn't be so long, 4 to 6 points. And get a co-host like I have, Keith. And I would suggest you bring somebody in from your local health department. You could just go over and video them. That would be a great idea. Talking about the local risk, or a doctor that was trusted in the community. But you want to change up the way you're doing things. And then you want to show your agency's webpage to show safety. We already went over that. And frame each point in a question, which I'm trying to do. Like, what do you need in an agency during COVID-19 to choose that agency? And then they have to think about it. Your audience, always ask open-ended questions too. So we'll move to the next one. Okay, so the end of a webinar is an ask, because you're selling something. So you want to end with solutions. One solution that I could suggest to you is offer a checklist of what they need in a safe concierge home care or GCM agency. And some suggestions for a checklist that they can shop around. Well, they probably aren't going to shop around, but you've given them something really valuable and something to do that really reflects your own safety. And you can think of other things. But then the real ask is for the sale. You want them to be your client. So you offer, and this is my suggestion, a free 30-minute assessment. And you should have been doing that before. I would say put it on your website. And if you want to know how to do it, if you go on my YouTube channel, I have a whole playlist about that. And, that gives, something at the end that is valuable, and it's free. And then, on the webinar, you want to create, and this is how you mix up things. You would have put a link to your newsletter, a link to your website, and all your social media, so that you're mixing up everything together to get the most out of your PR. And we'll move to the next slide. Okay, webinars, how much they cost and which one should you use? Well, I use Zoom. I really like Zoom. It took me a while to get used to it, but I really like it. But it's $150 to $200 a month. There are other choices. Nest is a really good choice, and it's only $39 a month. So you can cut your expenses, and you can click on both of these links, I believe, and you can see more about Nest. But you do want the choice you make to be HIPAA compliant, and Nest is HIPAA compliant. There are others too. So we'll move to the next slide. And all right, this is the second modality we're going to go in marketing, and this is how to create an e-newsletter or use your e-newsletter well if you already have one. by using the right copy to get the good word out about your COVID-19 services or whatever you're going to do. So you want to create a marketing campaign using the right platform. And there's 3 major platforms, and we could click on Constant Contact, or I'll do it. Okay, let's see. Oh, you're doing it. Okay, so this is Constant Contact. I use it. I love it because it has great customer service. They will do anything for you, which is just like, I'm 76. You know, I've been doing computers since the first Apple, but I'll never ever be able to catch up with either my 9-year-old twin grandsons or anybody 20 or 30 or 40. So I love that aspect of it. But Theranos probably has really good, you want good customer service. And we'll go to the next one. The next one is SurveyMonkey. I think equally is good, but you can check everything out here on this link. And then we'll go to the last one, which are other choices. And there's a whole bunch of them. We'll just look at this really fast. So, you can check this out if you want to compare platforms. Okay, so an email database, an email newsletter is no good, useless, unless you have the right database. And what is a database? It's made up of contacts. And what are contacts? The people you want to get it, to open it, and also like pay attention and be your customer. And it's full of targets, which means there's 2 main targets, categories, adult children and third party. So you want to get opens among all these people. And who are third parties? Senior agencies down here, media, spiritual, elected officials, hospitals, elder law attorneys, on and on and on. And each of those need in a contact database to be divided into what you call a list. And just think of a silo. So elder law attorneys is a silo, and under are all your elder law attorneys in your area. A silo for trust, all your, your trust departments in your area. And, media needs to be in there as a list. Now, you not only want to have the right information in there, you want to make sure you don't have garbage in, garbage out. So you got to clean it out every once in a while because, people leave their jobs. Right now, people have left and other people are going to come back. So you may have a lot of cleanup. But the second part is you want to grow your list. You want to grow your email database. So you want to do that by telling everybody in your agency to collect business cards wherever they go, whether they're at, cocktail parties, they're not happening yet, but senior roundtable where they're meeting everybody, making marketing, marketing visits, and bring them back to the office and have the main person who does your input in that database put them under the right list, because you don't want garbage in, garbage out. Anybody that signs up for webinars, you do just, Constant Contact, they all have a way to import in, into your own database. And then at the end, you want to, of everything, you want to put the subscription link to your other social media. So the subscription link to under your email signature. Subscribe to your newsletter through your blog, put that in. Subscribe to social media accounts, your newsletter through your social media accounts. So you want to make it all interactive, and that makes all your social media more powerful. And we'll go to the next slide. Okay, email story ideas, email newsletter. I really like the idea of doing a 3-pager, real brief one, every week. And we're going to click on this link. I'll click on it and see if it works. We're doing this with a lot of people. Okay, Lifespan has a real short email newsletter they send out once a week. And this is for their well-being program, but a zillion people open it because it has to do with COVID, because everybody's worried about it. So, this first part is Older Americans Month, but, Mother's Day, it just gives people a reason to open. And this is about their well-being program, which is really quality of life. They serve seniors, mostly in assisted living, et cetera, that need to get out. And because it's quality of life, if you've read the quality of life assessment chapter in the handbook, Nina Herndon broke it into 4 different categories. And so they're talking about spirituality through environment here. And then this is a whole new thing. It's a little bit longer here because they have a real hard time getting caregivers now, which everybody across the country does. And so they're, asking people to sign up for the well-being program. And at the end is a COVID report. You can see that coming up. So every week they give through the public health program in Santa Cruz, the update of how much COVID is in the area and what color are we in. And you can add, all sorts of factoids about, the number of seniors that are, immunized or, have vaccinations throughout the country, where spikes are, whatever. But it should focus on COVID because you get the most opens that way, and it should be short. I would say 3 pages. So you can also tell them about other agency programs if you want to, do other agency safety programs. You can have videos that you put in, like I showed you on the website, about your nurses talking about what they do, or your social workers talking about what they do for safety. Care providers are interviewed after everybody got their shot. We took pictures and made videos of people with their little, COVID tag. And, that's interactive again. People like it. And, certainly put your county information in, because right now that's what governs, because we have states' rights. The states do different things, as we well know, and the counties do different things. And then you can give the national number of seniors that have had 1 shot, that gives a bellwether. So these are story ideas you can put in that 3-pager. Move to the next slide now. Okay, e-newsletter ideas, add videos. I already said that. You can take stuff off the Lifespan channel and make it your own. And we'll move to the next slide. Okay, and in your email newsletter with videos, you want to always tell a story. And Vanessa, who I showed you a little bit about, even though you couldn't hear her, like I said, she was telling a story. First, we had a whole bunch of people in the office, and then COVID came and we had to send them all out, but they're still doing the same amount of work. And now that COVID is, it's about blow by blow how things are changing. So it really gives the person a picture of where you are with safety. And it's a story. We all love stories, Little Red Riding Hood. She was walking through the woods. Everything was okay. And then the big bad wolf was there, and it wasn't her grandmother. But eventually she got out and COVID went away. And you want to use your iPhone. To tell you the truth, again, I'm 76, but I've been doing videos forever. I have a huge YouTube channel, and I do it with iPhone, my own iPhone, and a tripod, and somebody to do it. Right now I have, these wonderful people here are helping with the webinar. They'll figure out the beginning and the end. And the same with the videos. I have a videographer in Australia because he does the gig economy, and he fixes the end and the beginning for me. But other than that, it's just my iPhone and my tripod and a friend. So you can do this cheaply. All the Lifespan videos were made by the office manager because she's young and she knows how to do it. So it doesn't have to cost, as my mother would say, an arm and a leg. And we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so that e-newsletter database, you got to put these people in. And adult children are really, really, really hard to reach, because where are they? It's really hard to find them demographically. Where you can find them is clubs. And so you want to list in your e-newsletter database of clubs. And you want clubs because clubs, have a lot of usually older people in them. And also they're, it's a great way to show, your information about safety or whatever it is to people who really they need speakers. these clubs always want speakers. So you can put a whole list of all your women's clubs like AUW, Junior League, Saraf, I never say that word, Saraf, I can't say it. Cultural clubs are great because mostly older people are interested in classical music. So, I mean, Santa Cruz, again, smallest county in California, we have a symphony. So, symphony league, choral leagues, opera leagues, you can get opportunities to speak to them. And even more important, by your mixing up of your marketing, it's, paid advertisements don't really work in geriatric care management, but, just doing an endorsement or some sort of, small ad in the programs that they have really are appreciated by these cultural clubs. So you want to mix it up by doing that. Doesn't really cost that much money, but that's where older people really are at this point, as far as clubs are concerned. And then local museums, if you have them, political clubs, League of Women Voters, service clubs are golden. And they used to be mainly male clubs, but now a lot of women are in Rotary, especially a lot of GCM people. Rotary, Lions, Kiwanis, they're always looking for speakers. So, get them in the database so that they get the newsletter over and over again. Right now they're meeting through Zoom, and they want speakers through Zoom. But, eventually they'll be meeting in person. And, it gives you a great way to talk about your agency. And you always need a hook. So the hook is about COVID safety, because it's such a like a change right now that is not necessarily clear for seniors, and mostly people are seniors that belong to these clubs. In Santa Cruz, we're again a small county. We have 5 Rotaries, so there's got to be a lot there, and senior service organizations like Senior Roundtable, and then these are not clubs; it's places of worship. The last, bastion of people who attend, the classical churches are old people. Mostly the younger people are in more evangelical churches. So places of worship should have their own list, but that's a great way to put those people in your newsletter database. So you want to create a list for clubs, a list for senior agency, and a list for spirituality, which just means churches, Buddhist temples, and synagogues. So we'll move to the next slide. Okay, now we're going to do a poll, and Keith, the wonderful partner of mine, will do that.
Yeah, hi there. Thank you. And let me go ahead and get this thing started there so everybody can see what you're talking about here. So let me go ahead and read the question. Have you ever pitched a story about something your agency has done to local media to get free public relations for your agency to do any of the following? And then your choices are local newspaper, local TV station, local radio station, or never. And we've got some responding coming through here. What do we got here? 20, 29. Yeah, we'll give it a few more seconds here. Cathy, can you see the results coming up?
No, but I'm awaiting them with bated breath.
Okay, well, maybe they'll come up when it's when we close it out. Okay, I'll give it another couple more seconds here. Yeah. Okay. All righty. Thank you, everyone. Should be able to see those now. Can you see the results?
Yeah, I do. That's very, very interesting. So
Yeah.
most of you have never done it, but half of you have done radio and newspaper, and nobody's tried TV. And TV is actually really good. Well, but thank you so much. That's great. And we'll close that out. And we have another poll coming a little bit later. So, hopefully I'm going to introduce reasons why you should do it more, whatever choice you have here. So we'll move to the next slide. So what you want to do, this is social media, and social media is, you use it to alert family caregivers, same old thing, a clear path to the safety in your agency. You want to join every single one of these things because social media is really powerful. And again, you can mix it up with other modalities. So LinkedIn is a professional it's for professionals, but you get a lot of referrals through LinkedIn. I blog every other day, and I would say half are for people from LinkedIn that I get feedback from, and signing up for various things. So you can join linked up groups too. You get to put your whole profile in, and people really do notice you, and Aging Life is on it. You definitely want to create a Facebook fan page for your GCM business. It keeps it out of your, if you have a regular, family Facebook page, your grandchildren do not want to hear about your business. And so, get them on, get your, create a business page. It's really good for your business. Pinterest is really good as well. And Twitter is great. Even I have a Twitter handle, and, I get a lot of response from Twitter. So I would get on all of these. And, there's a lot of others as well, but I recommend these four the most. And we'll move to the next slide. Google is great, and I would highly suggest using Google for media. And it's, a form of social media that same thing can alert, families to, our point, which is the safety, but create a Google business page. And Google does this amazing thing for you in that it gives you this high trust ranking if, they do a background check on you, and they confirm that you are not, a bot or a Russian hacker that's going to turn off half the oil in the East Coast. They can, they really check you out. And then when you get this high trust rating, that's really golden to your customers because Google's given it to you. So I would absolutely, do it, join the Google business, get a Google business, and it's free. Move to the next slide. It's a good deal. So Google has these new features where for healthcare providers, they will let people know if you have online care options. So you can do phone consults through Google. If you want to do free, offer free, assessments, 30-minute, consults, you can do it through Zoom. You can do it through your agency's website or Google, and they have virtual care info links. So if, you're doing, any type of counseling, any kind of, individual, online counseling, you can do it through Google, not do it through Google, but you can put your link up there, which is really great. So you want to add COVID information to your Google page and put a link, again, to your website, and, keep mixing things up so that they're more powerful together rather than individually. And we'll move to the next slide. Okay, social media blogs. I blog every other day, but I'm a writer. So, but blogs are really powerful. And I really recommend writing blogs, but you can cannibalize blogs, and I'm going to talk about how you can do that. I use WordPress. First of all, you have to have a platform, and I've done a lot of platforms, and I really like WordPress as my hosting site because it posts all the social media. I don't have to make it all happen. It just happens. I mean, you've got to, click boxes, but that's okay. And you can link it to your email newsletter. So there's a lot of interaction going on there. And examples, this is my this is how you sign up for my blog. You've got the link right here. I'm not going to open all the links. However, you can go, do this and go on my site and see what I'm blogging about, because I really pick out, timely subjects. Like right now, I have done a whole lot of blogging about the Biden caregiver infrastructure bill, because I feel like it's really important. I get huge response from it. And you can, you can blog about, that. But what I would say about safety is, a great thing to blog about is advanced directives. I have a zillion advanced directives, on my blog, because what happened in COVID, there's a lesson about this. People didn't, 50% of people don't have advanced directives. They ended up in the hospital and died without what they wanted, even their family. And so it's a great time to use that lesson to talk about, how you can do it, an advanced directive now, the easier way to do it, how you do it at the last minute. Just steal it from my blog. And then say social connection is another great topic, because what we have learned through COVID, so many lessons, but isolation and loneliness, we all experienced it. So now we know what it is. And elders, experience their whole life as elders. They're isolated and lonely. So you can actually, if you have quality of life services, you can sell this, quality of life services through blogging about it. And if you don't have quality of life services, then you do have quality of care and quality of life together, which you really should. Don't let your care providers sit around on the phone all day. They could, they could engage. You can do a blog about that. So if you want to pick up really good ideas, just sign up for my blog. I've been blogging, oh God knows, since Methuselah, I think. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, so back to these email lists. You've got to grow your email, your e-newsletter list, and add all these PR, radio, newspaper, and radio, and newspaper, radio, and TV information. So you want to gather up all this information, and what's the point? You're going to approach the TV and the radio and the newspaper people and ask them to do a story. So you got to figure out, who do you call to do this story? So you want to make a list from scratch. Don't buy anything. You live in that town, you know it. And you want to get the contacts for the radio and TV stations. They usually come from assignment editors, and it'll be right on, you just go to their website. And assignment editors can list the reporters who cover the senior stories, the COVID stories, the health stories. So those reporters are who you want to make a contact. And the contact is the name, the name of the paper, important, the name of the reporter, and their email. And radio hosts, go to the radio websites and figure that out and build, a media database. And you can also include Facebook and Instagram groups that are really big in your area. And then these are all called influencers. And Twitter, you want to get the Twitter handles for these people. Local bloggers that are really good if you have a big city. School papers, if you have a big university, are worth, adding in. And you wouldn't think of it, but Patch and Nextdoor, which are these, little neighborhood sites, are all over the country, and they're very powerful. So you can add them in. And we'll move to the next slide. And you're building your database here, your media database. That's why I'm talking about it. So you get these interviews through, the local papers. And the local papers and the radio, they're always looking for local stories. The papers, what happened was all the advertising went to the web. And so the local papers are getting wiped out. And so they want local stories, and they would respond to you. So as I told you before, find the names of the reporters, people that cover health, COVID, seniors. And in the TV, same thing. And then you're going to pitch a story, and I'm going to show you how to pitch. And then create of all these contacts and add it to your newspaper database under media. And we'll move to the next slide. And now we're going to do one more poll before I teach you how to pitch. So Keith is going to do this too.
Okay, here's our number 2 here. Let me go ahead and put that up for everybody to see here. And it reads, what marketing tools have you used to show your safety protocol since COVID-19 began? And we have the first one is a e-newsletter, then we have webinar, we have social media, we have video, we have your website, I guess your website meaning your own website,
Yeah.
newspapers, radio, and television. And we have some of the some information coming in here. We have a couple, one on newsletter, one on social media, one on your website. Now you're talking about, is this informing folks about what your safety protocols are and how you're reacting to COVID
Well, just using it in general. I
in
mean,
general, even just general information about where to get shots or where to get tested?
do you use social media? Do you use videos? You know, is this a way to market for you? And have you used it?
All righty. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's, we've got some responses in here. I'm gonna go ahead and share those results with everybody. And you should see them here
Wow.
momentarily. A couple of
Wow.
newsletter, a couple of social media on your own website. And I would imagine too that some people would also use all three of those things or multiple avenues of marketing tools and so on. So it would be, I would imagine some people could, rather than just one choice, might be two or three choices out of here. So it'd be multiple uses. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, people are
Well,
saying
what
that
I
too.
would say is that webinars are a great tool, and I'd really start to think about them. Can you put that back?
Yeah.
Video is just what I told you. It's incredibly powerful. If 95% of the viewers are going to pay attention to what you say in a video and only 10% are going to take the same information if they read it, then do videos. And like I said, all you need is an iPhone and a tripod. And then I would say that newspapers are great because newspapers are desperate for stories. And you want to advertise your agency. It doesn't just have to be about safety. It can be about hiring new people. It can be stories about an open house that you're going to have or a webinar that you're going to have. And, you know, they really will pay attention to you because they don't have a lot to cover. And that's why people read local newspapers, because they want to know the skinny about what's going on in the town. So I would say really try it. And, you know, radio, the same. Radio is really a good, there's always aging shows and they always want to talk to you. So at any rate, we'll close that. And thank you so much for sharing what you do. Okay, so this is how you pitch. You know, and I teach marketing, and I know all social workers and nurses hate marketing. And, you know, I'm sure you won't like to do this either, but it's a great thing to do to build your company and get clients. So what's a pitch? If you took journalism or you took, you know, in high school or college, I took them both, and I was my college, you know, newspaper editor. And they always taught you the same old thing, the W's, who, what, why, where, how. It's still true. The W's are still there. So you do a pitch by saying, you know, who is going to be you, your local agency, what. In this case, I'm just going to do it for, you know, for COVID. You know, COVID's waning, but it's still dangerous. Nursing homes are, and they literally are, half of them are closing right now because they were unsafe and remain unsafe because, you know, they're all encapsulated in one building. The CDC mask mandate of mixed messaging is making it very, very, you know, very difficult for healthcare workers and healthcare providers like hospitals and you. And what, you know, family caregivers need right now is safe home care and safe mask messaging. What should we be doing? And that's a great hook. That's the hook, the what. And the why is that important? Because elders need safe, science-based public health navigation to remain at home where they need to remain. Now, Biden is moving. That's this whole caregiver rap right now, that people need to be home, and you know, that you can offer it, and where in your town, and how through, you know, COVID vaccinated caregivers, all the safety stuff that you're able to do. And this is a perfect pitch for you to use, to go to the newspaper, to go to the radio station, to go to the TV station. So, you know, if you want to riff on it, you can, but that's a really good pitch. And that's how you pitch everything. same old way as in 1962. And we'll move to the next slide. Okay, how to pitch a story. First, I already told you this. Find the assignment, editor, figure out, who the reporters are that cover, aging and health. Get all their information, their phone number, their contact, and and check out if you had something before that person's still there, because they fire people in newspapers left and right. And there's a link here, you can see it, WW Mondo Times. If you click on that, I'm not going to do it for you. It tells you the radio and TV stations in your area to pitch to. So you can just use that. And then you want to send first an email to your contact, make it short and sweet. Just use the who's and let the email do the talking, and we'll move to the next pitch. How to pitch to your local news. So if you're going to do your local TV station, don't call the newsroom at 3 because they're setting up for the evening, and that's their biggest shows. So don't do a marketing pitch at that point because they're busy. And they're especially, they have so many media layoffs, there's not a big staff. They go day by day. So find out when you call originally to, research who's the reporter, when's a good time to call to make your pitch, and then you make your pitch. And even though this seems difficult, you started your own business. You had the nerve to do this. Well, you can do this pitch because it's a really good way to get free PR and information out about your agency. And you're just building back. So this is important. We'll use the next slide. Okay, this is the last one. How to generate word of mouth customers. So all of everything I just told you is true, but you have to have this to begin with. Word of mouth customers, that's just somebody saying, I use, Acme and they were great, and I can see that you probably need help, so use Acme. They're not going to say that unless you gave them 5-star customer service, unless you made it easy for customers to contact you. Because why are they doing this? You're the dutiful daughter. You are the son that doesn't live there anymore and, it's hard to get to help them. You have to maintain a positive image, no matter how difficult these clients are, and they can be horrible. You've got to be positive. And you want to ask for testimonials from every client that ever liked you and is willing to put their name up on your website or have you do it. And you have to put abundant care in care management. And if you have those pillars, you can get word of mouth customers. And this is the end. And we're going to right now go into the last couple of things, and we'll move to the next slide. So at the end of every webinar, I do reduced price offers for the products that I have. So we're going to do 3 really fast. And the first one, we'll move to the next one, is my GCM operations manual, which is the only one that's out. It's in its new 5th edition. I told you that before. It has 15 services or products rather than saying you're a geriatric care manager, because nobody knows what that is. Step by step how to deliver each of these services. It's electronic, so it's in a PDF. And it's a training manual, so you can effortlessly, rather than carry all this stuff around in your head, you can effortlessly onboard and train all your new employees. And the webinar for this webinar, the offer for this webinar is $7.99. The regular price is $8.99. And I also have a new subscription program if you can only pay monthly, and you can take advantage of that as well. That offer is only available from today till May 1st. And you can find out more about the manual that I've just sort of, glossed over at my website, cathycress.com, or you can, if you want to purchase it, you have to get in touch with me. Don't, don't try to purchase it off the website because it'll be the old price. You can move to the next one. And the next one is my online geriatric care management operations manual class that I've had for 2 years now. It's self-paced, which means you could do it at your own pace, but you have a year to complete it. It includes the manuals for free. So you get the geriatric the operations manual and the forms manual included in it, which are both, electronic PDF, and, they work with each other. There's 22 modules in this program, which means that I have 15 products, but there's 2 products, Death and Dying and Home from the Hospital, that have three parts to them. What comes with it is 20 hours of free consultation with me, and I charge $200 an hour. So you're getting a lot of consultation with me that you'll get 2 hours per month. And we can talk about the homework that you're turning in and then any other business problem you're having. There's free tech support. I have a tech person who's been with me from Silicon Valley for 5 years. She's great because we're on Blackboard. CUs, there's a closed Facebook page. And the price normally is $9.95. You can buy it for $8.95 just for, this offer or the subscription. And it's only good until June 1st. And more about it, either on my website. And if you want to talk to me about it, just go to my email. And the last one is my GCM business class. And this is from the very beginning to the very end, how to set up a GCM business. And it's on Blackboard, as is the other online class. I've taught online through the University of Florida. So I know how, I didn't know I was going to do this, but I know how to do it. It's, again, a self-paced class. There's a year to complete it. There's only 10 modules in this. And it's from the very beginning, should you start a care management business, to the end, how you open your doors with marketing, sales, etc. You can find out everything that's in it by going to my website and just looking for online classes. You get 10 hours of free consultation with me, one-to-one coaching, free tech support, CEUs, the closed Facebook group, which includes everybody that's ever bought the manual. And the price is $550 instead of $650. And if you want to get it through the monthly subscription, you can as well. And it only goes to June 1st. So we're done, and now we're going to do questions.
Well, hello, Cathy, and thank you again for another wonderful presentation. And you zipped through them pretty well. You covered a lot of material in a short time, and it's free.
He always tells me not so long.
Not the length, but it's the amount of stuff that you give us here that I don't know. I hope nobody's taking notes, because there's no way you can keep up with. However, on that note, let me just ask you, will this be available to folks tomorrow, or how can they access this?
You'll get a copy of it tomorrow. So I always send a copy out, whether you were able to attend or not. As long as you signed up, I will send a copy of it out to you.
Okay. All right. Great. I do not see any questions here.
Oh, this always is the case. Yeah. Come on.
But I have a question.
Know. Okay, people.
I always have something to say about. So, what is the difference, if there is a difference? But can you distinguish between public relations, PR, and marketing?
Well, marketing really breaks into paid advertising and public relations. So, marketing is a broad, a broad category, and public relations is generally what is free. And there wasn't much free before, because what I've really gone over is more social media here, electronic media that, is relatively new. So, always think of marketing as it used to be that everybody had the yellow pages. Nobody even has that anymore. You don't have damn phones. So marketing has really changed, and it's mostly through the internet and social media. So one is free, one is not.
Okay, all right. Still don't see any questions here.
Oh, come on. Think up a question. Somebody raised their hand in the very beginning. Come on, you have to have.
Yeah, let me go back to the chat here. I think there's some people were saying thank you for a great presentation. They were talking a little bit about sometimes they charge for a newspaper, of course, for ads they would charge for. But I was
No, you don't
thinking
want an
maybe,
ad. You don't want an ad.
no,
What
not an
you
ad, but
want,
I'm thinking the editorial section, maybe if you contact the,
no, it's a story. They have so few stories in local newspapers now. Mainly they just subscribe from the New York Times or the Washington Post, and they just copy their stories and they pay for that. But local stories is, why people buy local newspapers. It's sort of the local gossip. And so they want your stories. And what you have to do is just pitch it. But you have to have a hook. And the hook is, I just gave you the hook about COVID, going away, but it's still very unclear. It's like the mixed message in the Trump era, only it's not, the CDC is not bad. It's just that we're very unclear in healthcare about what to do. And so that's a great hook for a reporter to write a story. And then, they interview you about your agency and you get your name and hopefully your picture in there. So it's not, that's what I mean about it. You want to pitch a story and you want to have a hook, and the hook is safety. And it's, the lack of clarity in this last COVID mask idea.
and I would think because of care managers are right on the front lines of everything that had happened here in the past year, that any newspaper would like to get a story about how things were
Yeah.
handled, how things were managed or mismanaged, maybe in some cases. Yeah, I was just at a facility today. The first time I was able to go in and see my client who had moved there during the pandemic. In about 3.5 months now, the first time I had seen her, she's 99 years old, right? So I was concerned about her, of course, and it still had to go through some hoops to get in, even with, and I'm fully vaccinated. Right? I have both shots, had them for months now, and into February, and still, and which part of me says I can understand their precautions. We're dealing with human life. We're dealing with fragile people. So yeah, I would always wear a mask anyway, regardless of whatever they, I would always err on the side of caution. Oh, it's super abundant caution, because I don't know. We still don't know. We're carriers, not carriers. We don't know who's been vaccinated, who hasn't. So we're doing it, of course, like we always do, for the other person's protection. But even still, I had to go through quite a bit. Look at the questionnaire, the temperature. I had to show my card. I had to show, they would not, I have it on my phone, and they wouldn't accept the video. I had to email to somebody, and then show proof of ID that the person on the name of the card and my license were the same. I guess they were afraid I took a picture of somebody else's card and then using it to gain access into these facilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's the Wild West again. I mean, nobody knows if, the CDC says, masks off. Nobody knows. I mean, it's up to your county. And somebody just raised their hand.
It says here, I have great references from the past, from past clients that have passed. However, they are out of state. Without a video of these experiences, we'll try to be good to do, with my work, be good to do. If so, how would I do it? With a video of their experience. Yeah.
You could, that's great. I mean, you have to get their permission to do it. So if they're dead, that may be a difficulty. But any written reference or videos, again, are fabulous. I mean, I can see none of you have done them, and that's a really great thing to go into now. Again, easy. iPhone tripod. I would, do videos of your whole staff, but, it really takes, doing what I talked about in the last slide about having great service. And then, at the end, I would always give a request to every client who left, ask them for a reference, and I think video references are fabulous. Thank you for bringing that up.
Deborah,
come on, everybody.
I think she clarified. She said I meant that these are the families of my clients. I think that's what she
was
talking about.
Fine. That's fine, because who's really in charge? The adult children. That's a really good.
Yeah.
That's really good idea.
Well, they're in charge of paying you. They're not necessarily in charge of what's going on, but they're in charge of paying your bill anyway.
Right. If anybody has never done a webinar, and I can see that, is anybody, that's never done one interested in trying this time?
Let me touch base upon, if I could, for just a second here. I don't see any other questions coming in or any of the chat. And if I fail to answer someone's question or wasn't clear, please feel free to make a note here and we'll try to get back to it. But you ran through a whole series of things: blogging, YouTube, making videos, all this. I mean, you went through newspaper, contacts and all this stuff. Number one, so two things. Number one, it could be expensive. Could be in some cases. You're shaking your head. No, okay. How about time-wise expensive and finding? Now, remember, you're a startup, new business, right? Isn't this for existing businesses as well, right? This isn't just for new startups. This would be for existing businesses that want to promote their services. Coming back out of a pandemic, you would want to re-look at what your marketing strategies are and tailor them. I think that's what you're saying, to what is going on currently, right? And
what
those.
works best. So I would start with an e-newsletter and a video.
Okay, there you go. Okay, right. For the person who doesn't have those resources to be able to go out at, number one, time resources, right? They're a new business starting out. They're trying to manage clients. Maybe they've taken a few acute care clients on, and that's time consuming, as we know. So all the marketing and stuff and getting that. So it's a balance between getting, out there marketing and doing your things and still running your business. So two things you would say would be the video would be one, and what was the other one you said?
E-newsletter.
Do a newsletter,
because a lot of people, a CRM database, which is another form of marketing database we all use. It means customer relationship, is really, for sending letters out, and you couldn't do that during COVID. Nobody was in the office, and you couldn't see them anyway. So e-newsletter is really effective, and those platforms I gave you were great, and that there is some cost in that. But you reach your clients that way, and you'll get really good clients that way. And video, again, I'm repeating myself, is very, very effective. To put the videos in your website, put the videos in your e-newsletter, video, your, like Lifespan did, video your staff talking about whatever in this case, safety. But they can talk about the program as well. If you watch the Lifespan program, the person who does quality of life talks about quality of life and what it's about. And they didn't, during COVID, they had no clients. And now they have 90. Exactly. Because he's done this newsletter, the really easy 3-pager every single week. And, people were, they had realized they were lonely and isolated, and there was an answer. So, I would definitely do videos and newsletters. Okay. But I would definitely pitch this, the third thing I would do is pitch to newspapers. They're desperate. They want you to come to them. And I would also pitch to the men's clubs, and they're not men's clubs anymore, but the service clubs like Rotary. They always want speakers, and that just takes you showing up. And if you're really interested, I have a whole thing to do with Speakers Bureau. I've done this for 40 years. I have a lot of crap.
Yeah, when you say men's clubs, that brings a different idea than what I think you're thinking.
Old school. Used to be, but there are a ton of geriatric care managers now that are in Rotary. You don't know them. Monica White, whole bunches of people. And because women are now getting into it and they find it's very effective. So you don't have to join, but you can be a speaker. And you're speaking mostly to older people, or just speak to the clubs that have the really old folks in them. And I know in Santa Cruz where they are. But that's, you can do that.
I was saying, I wrote a little note there. In the retirement communities, they always have a stage. They always have a place where they're looking for speakers about healthcare issues.
Yeah.
I live in a 4,000 home retirement community here, 55 plus. Every one of those down here where I live in Central Florida has a place where you can, where they ask speakers to come in once a month, talk about safety. They'll talk about maybe an attorney will come in and talk about scams or something like that.
That's a great idea.
I've done it myself. I've gone up and talked. An attorney and I have talked about, answered questions, did a panel discussion. I've done panel discussions before in those settings, and have received business from them. You have your cards there afterwards. You mingle.
That's a great idea. And what Keith brought up is co-presentations. Co-presentations are really powerful. If you do them with an attorney, you do them with a financial planner, you do them with a trust department, and especially doing them in assisted living, because assisted living loves to host them because they get to do a tour, and they will provide the food. So it's a great gig. And then they get to go stand up and give a little rap about their facility, and it's free for you. So that's pretty much throughout the country. And they're just opening up again. They want new residents. So that's and especially if they're still doing them on Zoom, it's really easy for you to make the presentation. As you can see, Keith and I are co-presentators. We're doing a co-presentation. I will be doing another webinar in about a month and a half. And thank you so much for coming. It's always fun for me to do it, and Keith is fun to do it with. And
thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Cathy, and thank you for the kind words earlier on. I appreciate. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. And I'll see you coming up here. Cathy also helps me out a little bit at the courses. Yeah, she's gonna come in and do a presentation for our small class that we have on care management here. So I appreciate it.
Right, we're transcontinental.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're going back and forth here. It's the time. Time frame.
I know. Well, thank you again. All. Stay safe and please pitch something.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.